it's not going to be that type of night, I don't think. I've sort of got a little bit of a feeling inside my bones that it just will be one of those nights. I'll say hello to you, John. I hope you're well.
As well as could be expected, I guess. But yes, I think that I told you I'd put this on every time I'm not happy, and it's yellow pages, mate. Not happy, John.
Well, it's funny you should wear the navy blue M&M Guernsey because it does. I think I might have used this little bit of a gag to before, but it does represent the soft underbelly chocolate that is inside what is apparently a hard exterior. And maybe that's a bit of a representation of our football side right now.
Yeah, look, it's I'm going to start with two of the biggest bonehead moves in football that I've come across in my 27 years of being a member.
Can we start by saying hello to a few people, if that's all right?
All right, go for it.
We'll start. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Johnny. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Johnny. I know that you're just on something, but it's very important we represent our awesome audience. And speaking of our awesome audience, if anyone wants to come on tonight, let us know. We'd be happy to have you on. We haven't had anyone on the show for a while, but we'd love to have you on. If you've got your angry pants on, even better. Please join us in the show tonight. And if you're just tuning in, like the club should be doing this week, it's mouth guards in tonight. There's no holds barred. It's going to be hard contested footy talk tonight.
I'd put mine in, but I bit it in too. I was that angry.
I don't know how I dragged the old mouth guard out. Just in the last 2 seconds, I thought of that gag, and I found it in the drawer upstairs. But anyway, good evening to everyone. Yes, it's going to be an interesting show tonight. No holes barred. We'll just say how it is. We'd like everyone else. Johnny, Andrew's on me. We'd like everyone else to say how it is, and we'll start off with you, Johnny. Go for it.
Right, I'm going to start off the conversation with two of the biggest bonehead moves I've seen in football in my 27 years as a member. It started with a press conference with Voss earlier on in the week. It might have even been the week before. That was not making excuses, but kind of making escape clauses if things weren't to pan out the way that they did the season. It was all sort of put in that nice little bow of development, and I took quite offence to that because I wrote a pretty angry post out there, and people came back to me and said, "No, you've gone a bit too far on this one." Fair enough. After the results of the weekend, I don't think I went far enough because that sort of shit is exactly what we dished up. It's like the players had a license now to say, "Oh, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen this year." Make no mistake, we don't have time. Okay, we don't have time to go through 2 or 3 years of another coach. This needs to happen now. You've got 3 of your spine were taken 7 years ago in the draft. They're coming to their peak of their powers, aren't they? Really, albeit that one of them's been curtailed a lot of that by injury, but they are coming to the peak of their powers, and they've got what 3, let's say 5 years left of their best footy to come. Would that be fair? And after that, after they're 30, they can still play a great contribution, but they're not going to be at the peak of their powers. Would that be fair to say? So we've got a 5-year window, haven't we? And if we're gonna write this one off, we've got 4 years left. Okay, we've got to do something in those 4 years. So if you're saying to me now that all right, this is development transition year, is next year another development year? That takes it down to 3 years. When do you actually start saying, Carlton Football Club, we need to be fucking top 4? We need to be in a grand final, and otherwise nothing else is good enough, and we've got to start getting angry. At what moment do you say that? And then to back this bullshit up, Thursday night selection, the hardest working player, the most passionate Carlton player that probably on par with anyone that I've seen in 27 years, wears his heart on his sleeve, loves his jumper, he gets dropped. So you're sending a message, and a lot of us have run businesses, had employees and all that. What do you do for your most hardworking, most talented employees? You promote them. You build a business around them. You build a team around them. And we dropped him. We said, we're not going to, we're going to try something different. All your hard work, fuck off. You're getting dropped. Albeit he come back as a medical sub, which again gives me another rant to have, because it's also saying to the players, do not become multifaceted in your game. Do not be someone who can play all over the ground, because you know what that leads to? That leads to you to be the sub.
Good evening to everyone, and welcome to Carlton Live this evening. The mouth guards are in. The mouth guards are hopefully in at the footy club. Look, mate, it's hard to go past everything you just said. There's a lot of people tonight agreeing with you. Good evening to Richie, Rob, Tanya, Brendan, Gina, Rob, Carly, Deb. Great to see you all. Andrew, Luigi, thank you very much for tuning in. Peter, I'm angry too, mate. There's a lot of anger out there. This first of all, JSOS, when it was dropped, I said to you, it's a mistake. Don't worry, it's Honey managed. JSOS, it's JSOS managed. Honey omitted. They've made a mistake.
Yeah, we thought it was a misprint.
Which a few people thought. And then it was, okay, this rubbish press conference from Voss and from Hamill. Oh, we're just needing to get the mix right. That is the biggest load of horseshit I've ever heard in my goddamn life. What kind of mix? I thought we had some selection integrity going on this year. And then there's been a bit of commentary. Oh, Sauce is not the best player in the team. We need team balance. I've never heard a whole lot of bullshit in my life. We have got that many outside mids, and by outside mids, I mean blokes who are fucking outside of getting the ball. We've got that many we've got too many downhill skiers who want to rack up 25 plus against GWS and West Coast, but when heat comes along, as it has done against Adelaide, Geelong, Collingwood, Richmond, St Kilda, where are they? There's 5 or 6 players you could probably count on. You could count on each week. The rest are just throw the hat up in the air and hope that we get some kind of performance out of them when the heat is on.
Yeah, agreed. And that bullshit about we had to get the mix right. You know what that's saying to the world? You know what that's saying, ladies and gents, is we do not respect this opposition that we're coming up against. So we're just going to fuck around with our team. And we're just going to try something new because we've got it over them. We don't need to try. We don't need to bring our best team on the park. We've got this game. We'll look to the Brisbane game and the finals. That's what it fucking says.
Adam Allenson, we played our worst game and we're still in at 3/4 time. Disappointing it was. I think we can't just dismiss the whole season's work. Let's wait and see the response this week. We no need to panic just yet. I'm panicking. I'm panicking because we can't be trusted. We can't be trusted to back it up next week. We can't be trusted to win our next 3 or 2 we need to win. It would be an absolute write-off, an absolute disgraceful write-off to not feature in the finals this year.
Absolutely. It's a wasted year.
It would be more than a wasted year. It would be a write-off. It would be, I don't know. It would just, I don't know what it would be, but it just can't happen. It just cannot happen.
And I'll come back to that in a minute. But let's see what we've got ahead of us. I'm panicking too, because look who we've got this week. We've got Brisbane, who are a reasonable team, an extremely good team at home. We do not travel well. We haven't travelled well all year. We've then got Melbourne, who have been a little bit up and down, but they will bring it, and they have got some tremendous heat players. And then you've got Collingwood, who are having this angelic season, just absolutely out of nowhere, who can do no wrong in their next 3 games. We could quite easily lose all 3 of them.
I did see Stephen Dank down at Collingwood, by the way, but just not casting any dispersions on their season. Just might have been a coincidence he was walking past there. Okay, we talked about last week the ability for Pitnet to come back in, which we thought was a good thing, and we thought that would give a lot more flexibility to our side, particularly a half forward in JSOS to get more flexibility into his game. And then, of course, that fell over. That flexibility fell over, I thought, when we picked it. Hindsight's a good thing. Pitnet to me didn't seem right.
I think from a ruck perspective, we tend to look a bit internal, but you've really got to say how good was Riley O'Brien. He really took both of our ruckmen to task and did it all day and gave first use to their midfield. He was super. And I can't say there's one player. I can't use that word for any of our players last week.
Maybe Andrew Curcio is right. Pito might give us less flexibility. You know what JSOS in the ruck does is he gives us a ruck and a ruck rover. He gives us a contest in there, even though he's not winning the contest to advantage. We know that we've got some pretty good mids in there to win those contests.
Yeah, look, Scotty Nolan, bullshit, boys. You can't expect the boys to click 20 games into a new coach. Add that to injuries we've had. Take this loss as a mulligan, calm the farm. The mulligan call I didn't like from, I think it was Jared Healy who coined that one. Our mulligan was a Gold Coast game, to me. We should have learned everything that we needed to know about not showing up and not giving an opposition team respect from that game. And, how to travel, which we're not doing well. That was our mulligan. We should have learned everything from then. Not with 3 rounds to go in the season, 4 rounds to go in the season. You don't have mulligans then.
Injuries, sorry, Scotty, but injuries wasn't the reason why we dished up a piss poor, soft, weak ass, lame ass performance on Sunday.
It was a mindset.
I'm not expecting them to click 20 games either. What I'm expecting them is to perform at a level which we have seen them perform and do that a lot more consistent. And I expect our coaches to be doing their selection, which represents that. I'd rather 18 JSOSs getting contested possession, tackling, rather than 4 or 5 outside mids racking up 25, looking pretty on a wing, and not being able to stick a tackle, or not giving us any contested possession when we need it. I'll take 18 JSOSs any day. I'll take that any day of the week over that.
Yeah, someone's going to apply themselves all over the ground and defend as well as attack. But our attack was shit house. Someone said it earlier. Our delivery into the forward line was going back to old habits of just bombing it long to the top of the square and see what happens. Our small forwards were non-existent. In fact, our whole forward pressure was non-existent. They just coasted out of there and took it coast to coast so many times. It was just terrible. And you can't defend against that when it comes out of there so quickly and you've deliberately pushed your players up. Yeah.
Turnovers, you're right, Luigi. Turnovers killed us. But the turnovers came from the pressure that the Crows were providing against us. That's where the turn. We I think our tackle count was similar to theirs. I think certainly we won the possession count. Our numbers in the forward line were abysmal. Their pressure in their forward line was off the charts.
Yeah.
They brought it to us. They tore us a new one in terms of how we've been winning our games. that's what they did too. And credit to Adelaide and Nix, and we knew they're a good, strong tackling side. But the turnovers came from the pressure that they were putting on the ball carrier and the ball and us not going near the ball because we were running scared at every time we took a possession.
Yeah, look, they covered us all over the ground, didn't they? They took away every
23 missed tackles. Talk about Jana. Thanks for bringing that up. 23 missed tackles.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. But I forgot the point I was going to make. They took away all of our strengths, didn't they? They were tough around the ball. They nullified our forwards. They nullified our small forwards. They stopped us running off half back. They were marking better than us against our talls down back. They just covered us completely, didn't they? There's a point that I want to make down here. I don't know if I can scroll down. So, okay, Rob Galicchio. Guys, do you think Vossi should be making more moves and change it up? Yes, but through the course of the season. We all had this conversation, 3-4 rounds in, saying that this combative nature of midfield and the way we were playing was not sustainable. Well, we questioned, was it sustainable for the 26 weeks that's needed to win a grand final? The resounding answer to that question now is no, it's not sustainable. And I would have liked to make changes through the midfield to keep players fresh. Why has Dow not had a game, for example? Why is Setterfield playing as a fucking outside mid and not his bread and butter inside? Why is J-Stoss not going through the middle? Fisher had one go last week because someone was injured. Hewitt was injured. Why aren't we just changing this around a little bit more?
Brendan Scott, sometimes coaching panel can outsmart themselves. On paper, it made sense not to have JSOS, TDK, and Peter on the team, but didn't consider the fabric of the team. Why not try 3 for a few weeks and see if it does work? Haven't been on here. Sorry, mate, you've cut off a little bit. I can't see that on the rest of the stuff. But, yeah, outthinking yourself, you're right. I think Vossi and their team, you've hit it perfectly on the head. Sometimes I do think they outsmart themselves, and I think maybe they think they're too smart for themselves too, in terms of someone just mentioned, I don't see a lot of those moves. I don't see a lot of those changing it ups when things are going bad. This is getting back to the whole, we're right, our structure's right, we'll be right, she'll be right, mate.
Yeah, well, we've heard that record before and we didn't like it the first time.
But, yeah, you're right. I did think they outthink themselves. I did think they outthought themselves, outsmart themselves, Scotty, whatever. I still think that JSOS, Pitto, and TDK have got roles in the same team, 100%. It didn't. Pitto was down. I think Andrew Lake pointed out that he was still trying to protect his knee, and that was clearly a bit of an issue. And clearly, Pittonet was down. He wasn't, doing some, two-way running like we would traditionally think he was. TDK, wasn't effective up forward. I still think there's room in that side. Whether they go with that this week is going to be really, really interesting. They do outthink themselves. I think they outthink themselves in selection too. I think, there's been some questionable selections. Kemp was killing it and acing it, when he came in. They seem to be bringing in blokes positional wise, I understand sometimes, but bringing blokes in with not a real skerrick of form line in the VFL.
Yeah.
Dow again is a question. He could have potentially been in front of Setterfield. Setterfield played one really good game in the twos, but surely Dow can play that outside role.
Yeah, or chuck him in and give Chera a bit of a roll outside and just swap them over.
I don't know how many weeks Owies had out, but he had four weeks out with his calf injury and straight back into the mix. He was non-existent. I would have rather JSOS play a small. JSOS could play that forward pocket role.
Yeah, that's a fair call. JSOS can just play anywhere, and that's why he was made the sub. That's bullshit.
I'm usually a fan of what I hear from Weeders on his sort of post game stuff that he does. I heard him today. I just didn't really think it was. It really didn't give me a lot. Like that they were hurting from that loss. Oh yeah, we'll bounce back. Adelaide got us. We'll try better next week. I don't want to hear that, Weeders. I want to hear you to try better every week.
Yeah, look, it's exactly right. Let's get what I'd like to hear from the club and from players is where did it go wrong? Why did they not have the group mindset to get the job done? What was lacking? What have they changed? What is different from their perspective? I've given my perspective. You've given your perspective. We've got a ton of great comments here that we won't get through all tonight. They give their perspective. What's the club's perspective? And just straight back. Fucking hate that.
If anyone wants to come on, the show tonight, we'd love to have you. I'll put a little link into the chat box and you can come on the show and have a chat with us. That'd be fantastic. We haven't had any guest on for a little while. We don't want to make this the John and Trev show. But, if you're feeling a little bit angry or need to get something off your chest and want to come on camera, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free. There's the link there. Pauline, thank you for your comments. Darren, Matty Piscopo, Plowman's getting a game. Jesus, poor Mr. Plow didn't do himself any favours on the weekend, did he?
No. Yeah, I can't really defend him this week, but I can't defend 22 players this week.
And he wasn't alone.
Now, Cripps had a big game stat-wise, but what really irks me is that he gets off scot-free, I think, in terms of, the public outcry, if you like, because he is the golden boy. What he didn't do as a captain was bring everyone along with him. He just played a lone hand in that midfield. He didn't get the team up. He didn't get them all onto his level. And that's out in the field. That's him and the leaders that are out there. That's their job. He's not just a player, out there. If he was just a player out there, you'd say, yeah, all right, he's probably done his job. But as a captain, he did not. If Mark Murphy, and I've said this before, and I'll probably say this again, if Mark Murphy was in charge of that team that dished up that shit, we'd be calling for his head. There's no two ways about it.
Is there something going on that we don't know about? There's been a lot of the inside noise hasn't really escaped Carlton a bit. Scotty makes a good point here. Not contesting the Hayes suspension. Is that sending a poor message? How good tackle, but don't back your team up. I was absolutely shocked at that. What's it costing to contest it?
Yeah.
Is there something going on like we have known about previous years on the selection table where people aren't getting where people aren't sort of super happy that they're not not getting games, or I don't know. So there's something internally going on.
Yeah, and we had hoped that with all the changes in the off season that those days are finished. Maybe not. But yes, Richie, don't anyone ask me for votes this week. No votes. No votes. Fuck him.
No votes. Fuck him. This sounds funny, but Harry hasn't necessarily been our superstar player for the last few weeks. Again, talk about dropping players on form. You'd probably say again. You'd probably rather have Sauce in the side than Harry. You can't. Is Harry Charlie? Is Harry? Is the Charlie show influencing what Harry's doing? Now, people have a crack at Mr. Plow. And I know Harry's kicked a few good banana goals this year, but bloody hell, that 15-metre banana at a crucial point in the game when he has been kicking left foot drop punt goals. I'm happy for you to go around the corner, Harry, but not put the banana away, please. Put the banana away.
Oh, dear. Yeah. But there's no doubt, he's untouchable, isn't he, really?
Of course he's untouchable. He'll come. They won't be dropping Harry. They'll drop a scapegoat.
But there's also the argument there that to say that Harry, even though not in great form, is taking a key defender and allowing Charlie up until this week to have much more of an influence. There's that argument to be had, I would guess.
Good friend of our show and part of the cheer squad does an excellent little thing after games called Nick's Positives. He wasn't able to find much this week. I think he found Cripper.
That would have been a quick show.
It was a quick little thing, and shout out to Nick if you're watching. We love your stuff, buddy. Anything from you? Any positives from you? Anyone else there can see anything positive coming out of this game?
I couldn't pick one thing that interested me that I could say, yeah, that's something to build on. It was just a cross the ground, flat, stupid appearance. It wasn't even a game. It was just an appearance.
Andrew Lake, a legend of the Carlton Football Club and the main man behind Blue Horizons Facebook group. If you get on that, you'll be much smarter and you'll be a much better Carlton person for joining that group.
Yeah.
The whole fabric of the place seemed to be changed after the Collingwood result. We lose by 4 points. Voice supposedly reads the riot act. We make 6 changes, 5 drops. Since then, we have gone win-loss roller coaster. It did seem to be, we looking at Collingwood's performances now this year, it does seem probably a little bit of an overreaction to have 5 dropped when we lose by 4 points, even though it was a game we expected to lose. That has been, as Andrew points out, a roller coaster. Maybe it was something back then that started with the selections that might unsettle the players a little bit.
Yeah. Who knows? That would be, but the timing is about right, isn't it?
A couple of people tonight have called our defence into question. Defence wins premierships. Our defence is shot. I'm a bit flustered by that, or flabbergasted by a couple of those comments. I thought our defence this year is, and the stats probably back it up too, has been right on it. Particularly under the strain of some key position injuries. Doherty, Sard, and of course Worthing before he gets injured are all in all Australian form. Newman has been outstanding. Plowman has been Mr. Plow, but he's played his lockdown roles. Lewis Young was an absolute highlight while Weeders was away. I don't think our defence is the issue. I think our issue is our bottom 5 players and our ability to deliver into the 50 and convert. That's my take on on our problems.
Yeah, George, I would agree with you if that was to be extended to our team defence, not as our back 6, but our team defence looks shot. Absolutely, it did on the weekend. Aside from the names that Trev just mentioned there, there was no defence through that midfield, was there? Really, they just ran through there at will, and they seemed to know exactly when we were going to pull this different point, but one that's just come to mind. They knew exactly when we were going to pull the trigger to go into the corridor, intercept, and go straight back the other way. So as a ground defence, there was no defence up forward, was there? There was absolutely none. So if you look at it as a team defence, I agree with you.
Love this point, Craig Rudd. Thank you for joining us. You're 100% correct. Why don't our small forwards get front and centre of Harry and Charlie? You don't see them do it. There's not. I don't know where they are. They're our best small forward. It's Charlie. Charlie knows exactly where to sit behind the pack when the ball's coming to him. I don't know where Durden and Motlop are going, but they just don't seem to be around Harry a lot of the time. They just. I'm watching the last few games on TV. It's a bit hard to see what their makeup is. I don't know whether there's an over-reliance on Charlie and Harry. The only person that we've mentioned this guy previously, the only person who drops their eyes there's two people that drop their eyes when they're delivering the forward line, and that's Chera and Silvani. They're the best deliverers to our forward line. They'll drop their eyes and kick into space and kick onto a mark.
And Sard if he's up that far.
And Sard, if he's yep, that's true. And he'll hit you from 60 metres out. He'll hit a mosquito on head 60 metres out, that bloke.
Nice. I like that. But do you think, and this is something that struck me on the weekend more than ever, and I'll ask you, Trev, and everyone else, is do you think that Charlie is playing that card too many times of sitting out the back and playing the small forward role? Because I noticed on a number of occasions that Adelaide had worked that out and stuck a player there.
I personally think he's just smart. I think he just reads it coming in very well and knows that, you can't, no use competing up against Harry, and just, one of them's got to stay down. And if there's not going to be a small forward like there should be sitting in the goal square waiting for it, and one Durden forward and Motlop back, they seem to be all sort of coming in waiting at the last minute to try and, pounce on the ball. But that's my take.
But the counter argument to that is, why are H and Charlie in the same spot?
Oh, fuck, it just gets better, doesn't it? Jason Allen, thank you with the breaking news. Newman home and away. Oh, fuck. Durden, Hewitt, Kennedy to miss this week.
Newman to miss rest at home and away. Durden, Hewitt and Kennedy to miss neighbours. I've got to chuck a gag in there. It's a pretty dour night.
It's a bit down night. That's a shame about Newman. Mr. Plowman probably just give him an extra one in the change rooms afterwards just to make sure he stayed out. I don't know what the injury. Did they say what the injury was to Newman? It looked like a stop injury. Maybe there's a bit of structural stuff or bruising, but there's obviously 3 weeks home and away. Hewitt. His back was sort of suspect anyway. Kennedy, I think, was concussion, and Durden, I think, had a shoulder, but apparently not so bad. So not too sure about exactly those issues. We'll come back to that in a second, and that'll contribute to our conversation about next week.
So Nick Newman, the deep cut he's gone through a procedure to close the wound, and it's going to take an extended period of time to heal. So just the wound itself is just not going to be up in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Durden unavailable. Stocker's unavailable from concussion. Oh, this just gets great. And Hewitt, as mentioned, is not available. Williams not available.
It leads me to my George Hewitt week-to-week assessment. You know what that means? We won't see him back for a long time.
Yeah, we covered that last week, though. If it's back and if it is that bad to be week to week, it's put a line through him for the season, get him right.
That's just a catalyst for me just to have another drink, I think.
And what scotch was that one, mate?
It's the famous Starward whiskey from Port Melbourne, winner of 22 International Distillery Awards at the San Francisco Distillers Convention.
Yeah, someone asked, was this a bottle of vodka that I was necking? Yeah, and I felt like it. I really did. But
this is what Carlton does to you, ladies and gentlemen. When I bought these 2 bottles, they arrived. What's today? Tuesday. They arrived this morning. Richie Benacaza, break out the Bombay Sapphire. You know what? If we lose, if we don't make finals, mate, you'll see something broken out. Don't worry about that.
Was that the shit that you were on to where you made a mess of yourself one night?
I drank 3/4 of a bottle, and that's some of the best internet Carlton fan base TV you'll ever see. That shit.
Oh, it's brilliant.
I've got a heart monitor on at the moment. I don't know. They said continue to do everything you'd normally do. So half a bottle of scotch a night.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, positives. I you didn't ask me about my positives. My positives are that's okay. I'm the host. You're the you just sit there in the background, just fucking looking pretty. My positives are we've got 3 weeks to go, and we've got 3 games to fucking pull our finger out and do something for the rest of the year, and with a big carrot in front of ourselves to play in finals. That's, God help us, and I'm not religious, but I'd probably turn religious. God help us if that game on the weekend was a game that we needed to. It was the last round to win to cement our finals spot, and then had to wait around for the rest of a few games to see. God help us.
Yeah, that's exactly the way it's going to pan out, isn't it? Because we don't play Collingwood till Sunday.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a very what's the word I'm looking for? It's been a very soothing experience to communicate and connect with everyone, to get some of this shit off our chests, and hopefully it's the same for you out there after Sunday's abysmal, shocking, soft-ass, weak, lame performance from the coach, the club, the players, except for 5 or so. It's been good. It's a what's the word I'm looking for?
Cathartic.
Cathartic's good. What's that word when you all get together and you sort of look after each other and support each other?
Group hug. Group therapy. That'll do.
Therapeutic. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you very much, Luigi. It is good therapy, as is the Star Wars whiskey. It's very good, very, very therapeutic. We've responded all year, says Brendan Scott, following poor effort. So hopefully this continue. Yeah, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. We just want to make sure we lose the semi. Come back. No, what do we want to lose?
No, well, we're not going to make top 4, so we can't lose any finals.
Well, that's fine. We can't go win, lose. We're just going to keep winning.
Yeah.
The fucking strange thing about it is, and that's probably the hardest part about it, is we look back at some of the performances we've had this year, and people are saying, "Oh, don't get too harsh. We've had a good season." The harsh part is that we've had a good season, and that we know we've played some pretty good footy, and I don't know what's gone on to change that. That's seen us go this win loss situation. Don't know.
Yeah, it's inexplicable, but look, on the positives, really looking forward to getting out of Brisbane this weekend and seeing my first game for the season. That should be something else. And going to the Queensland Supporters Group function beforehand. So if anyone's out there is going to the Queensland Supporters Group function, I'll be there and come up and say hello, and we'll have a beer. So looking forward to that.
You charging for autographs, or you're not doing that anymore?
Oh yeah, absolutely charging.
Good work.
Got to pay for the weekend somehow.
Good point, especially with airline prices the way they are. So, what's your plan? Just going down by yourself, mate, to Brizzy?
No, I got my good mate Ash coming up for the weekend. The guy I've sat next to for most of the last 27 years, apart from me being up here. So that should be a good afternoon and good weekend.
Very nice. And hitting Brisbane town, Vegas afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, mate.
All right. So Johnny needs some help for his trip to Vegas. Anyone knows any good coffee shops to go to, good bars to go to? Let's hook Johnny up with some things to do in downtown Vegas.
And Gina Harris, no, I won't be in the Blues Brothers because I had already got tickets.
Okay. So we've got Newman out, Kennedy out, Durden out, Hewitt unavailable. This is going to be interesting, isn't it? Stocker unavailable.
Who have we got left to come in? Is there anyone?
Look, Marchbank's a given, right? Marchbank's one. Marchbank replaces Newman, right?
Yeah, one would think so. Yes, if he's fit.
he's got 2 legs and a heartbeat, so he's he finished the game last week, so he's in.
Okay, so he did play at the VFL. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Aaron Scary, the Carlton website says Hewitt is unavailable with back injury, and it's a week-to-week proposition. So don't take our word for it. Nunes, the forgotten man. Thank you, Lena, for piping in there with an excellent observation. Nunes, he's a bit of a scapegoat, isn't he? Too. I like Nunesy. Nunesy will have a crack.
Yeah, he will. Yeah,
he will have a crack. He'll play anybody. He'll play a lockdown defence or a half-back role.
Yeah. Well, your first in's JSOS, really, isn't it?
JSOS in, Marchbank in.
Dow to run through the middle, I'd say, and probably maybe Martin to take on Durden's spot.
Well, the last time Kennedy came out, Dow came in, it was for Kennedy, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the like for like. We know you need to find his spot. Bullshit, ruddy. So, Dow. I'm not writing this down, so I'll probably put 6 in and 3 out, knowing me.
Yeah.
Maths has never been my strong side, and we're getting into some dangerous Sapphire Gin territory at the moment because this stuff's pretty strong.
So I should be the one this week, finally, with the clear head. So who comes out? Kennedy is 1, Newman 2, Durden 3. Hewitt was already out, so that's 3 players out.
All right, let's go. All right, Kennedy, we say Dow, right?
Yep.
We've got Newman.
Is it Kennedy J Sauce?
Right? Hey?
Kennedy J Sauce.
Okay, Kennedy J Sauce. We've got Newman, Marchbank.
Newman for Marchbank, yep.
Durden
for Martin if he's fit. Or do you go Dow for Kennedy and then J Sauce for Durden?
Give me Josh Honey any day over Jack Martin.
Did Honey play VFL?
Believe so. Please fill us in.
Yeah.
Kemp's got to play. Kemp's got to come in.
For who? Plowman?
Well, possibly for Newman. But you still fit March. You can still fit March back in there.
Yeah. So Matthew O'Ryan, Hewitt. The news is that he's got a back issue and he's a week-to-week proposition and not going to pull up this week, and are probably unlikely for the rest of the season. And that's on the Carlton website. I've added in that commentary about probably not for the rest of the season, but on the Carlton website, it's definitely will not be available for this weekend.
If you drop Plowman, can you bring Kemp and Marchbank in there who are playing a little bit taller?
Say that again, please.
If you drop Plowman, and keeping in mind Brisbane have got some cheeky forwards, can you bring in Marchbank and Kemp? Or you're too tall down there.
So you're probably a bit tall. That's probably where the Nunes comes in.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Fogarty and Hayes, give us a lowdown. I haven't seen any VFL reports on the weekend. I do know Kemp was a good performer. I do know Marchbank played out the game and played it out and was probably in our best. I didn't see too much about Nunes or anyone like that. But that'll be interesting. Maybe Owies comes out for Honey.
Yeah, go back to the twos and get some form.
Yeah. Foghead 28. Silvani, Munchbank, Honey, and Nunes says someone. Brendan Whitford. Sorry, Brendan. I like it. I think Nunes can play the Dow role too. Nunes can play a mid role. I don't think they'll use him in there. I think they'll have to bring him. If Dow doesn't come in this week, then I'd walk out the door and say, "See you later, mate. See you later, Vossi. I'm out."
Has that already happened?
catch.
And the reason why he hasn't played.
We'll know on Sunday.
Mm.
We'll know
So
on Sunday.
Fogarty, you've probably got to what I'm going to say, promote him for that. But we don't seem to be rewarding hard work, so he'll get dropped to the threes.
Andrew Lake, what's Plowman's record on Charlie Cameron? I've got a vague recollection that he's done okay on him.
Okay, good point.
Hey Carly, Zach Williams is round 23 available.
Yeah, yeah. So you'd almost put the Q in the rack there too, wouldn't you?
Oh, he'll make it back for the grand final. Anyway. Fogarty 32, a couple of goals. Let's say Fogarty in for Owies. How about that?
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Happy with that. And Honey in for Durden. And JSOS in for Kennedy. And can we fit in Dow and Marchbank on the bench somewhere? Is that too many?
Shit, you're probably getting Dow as the sub now.
Yeah. Probably Marchbank comes in before Kemp, I'd say.
Marchbank comes in instead of
unless
Kemp.
unless they do drop Mr. Plough.
Yeah.
Look, they went. It wouldn't be surprising if they did send a message to the group or to a few players that may not have. O'Brien safe?
Setterfield.
So is Setterfield safe?
Yeah.
Dow for Setterfield.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
I think Ranger did enough to hold his spot. He's probably the only one who's finding a little bit of space in front of the big tools there to lead into and kicking some goals. I think he's doing all right.
Yep. Again, Lockie is an outside player. Fisher's form has been down. He holds his spot for me. Setterfield got a lot of the footy. Again, I think the value of getting a lot of the footy over some sticking tackles and being able to be performing when it matters. Let's give these blokes a crack and say, you're going to have a crack, play. You're not going to have a crack, see you later.
Yeah. Fair call. All right. Shall we wrap it up?
Unless anyone wants to come on with any last minute thoughts, let's go through a few comments. Debbie O'Connor says no one will be coming in after that. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, Deb. Jack Martin. Oh, you know what? They'll pick Jack Martin because that's what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they do. When was 6 weeks ago when I sat next to Jack Martin, who was a sponsored player of Carlton, and I asked him about his calf. He said, yep, right to go. And we didn't see him for 3 weeks, and then he came back at the twos. What does that mean? It's interesting, but that the words came out of his mouth. I'm right to go.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's a calf right to go, and he's not.
Hayes in for O'Brien. Surely not over. Surely not over a Dow or someone else or a Fogarty. We could play Marchbank on a wing too.
Yep, we've toyed with that idea before. All to no avail.
My
concern would be, is he fit enough to do that?
Vossi's not too good at making these little crazy changes that us supporters that don't know much will say.
All right, and a big stat here I want to know from you and everyone is how many times did you giggle like a 14-year-old boy when you heard Jordan Butts being called? I reckon I'm well in the 20s. I reckon I got 20 stats here.
Where's Boyd's name in the? Oh, there he is in the injuries. Available late in the season. Okay. Could be all too late. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tonight. It's been a fantastic having some group therapy with everyone. It was a shocking performance just when we needed to win this game. Just when we needed to win this game, and now it's just turned into a whole different set of circumstances open up, don't they, about the players playing scared. Get 3 or 4 goals down in Brisbane, and they start shitting, don't they, about potentially losing, because that'll be on their mind. Their expectation 6 weeks ago was, finals, no worries. It's going to be easy.
You're looking at top 4.
Yep, well, that's it. And they see all these things happen around us, and they see, they get beaten. And now the psychological element goes through the roof. Yeah. And again, they get down a bit and they chase us, and they think, shit, we've got to do something here. Because that psychological element of when you're losing and expectation of needing to win, it opens up a whole can of worms. A whole can of worms. Yep. Especially for our team.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Have a good weekend, wherever you're watching it from. Hope to see some of you down at the Gabba.
Good night, everyone. Thank you very much. It's been awesome. Really appreciate you joining us tonight. It's going to be a tough few weeks ahead. We can do it. We can win it. We can beat Brisbane. Brisbane aren't world beaters. They just, Tigers got hold of them. They've got some defensive issues. The players that we can bring in are quite capable of performing. It's going to be the real Carlton. It's going to see how much they want it, and that's going to be the answer to our questions this week against Brisbane.
Yeah, well, they should have wanted it last week too, and they didn't.
Good point.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Have a good evening. We will see you next Tuesday night, when no doubt we'll all be turned around and all be happy again, and we'll be talking grand finals again.
Cheers, everyone.
See ya.